Rebirth. Rebirth is a beautiful time. It's all about when we are going through a transition and almost picking up all our life experiences and putting them all into a little toolbox and knowing things at a new level. But then we move forward almost like with a clean slate. So how I explain it to people is like when we're going through life, sometimes it feels as though we just stop and we're at the beginning again. So, but I liken it to going upstairs. So we're always moving forward, but sometimes we just stop on that step for a second, and that's okay. And sometimes you might feel like you're going backwards, but we never are, because we've come too far. We've learned too much. We've been through so much. So this reading's all about where you're at right now and the rebirth and the awakening that's taking place. It is absolutely global. It is absolutely a collective phenomenon. We are all moving forward with this vibration that's lifting. We've been through a few years of bullshit, basically. We've been through very much low vibrational energies, which is fear. Fear has been thrusted upon us, you know, through the media, through the government, perhaps loved ones, all that type of thing. And fear breeds fear. But what's happening now is everybody's going, well, hang on, there's actually nothing to be fearful of. And in that comes this awakening, this power, this connection through humanity, because we're all stepping up and we're all looking at our old lives and realizing that it just doesn't suit our vibration anymore. Where, you know, I have a lot of past experiences in my life where I always shifted and made the biggest progress after going through something quite traumatic, something quite, you know, out of my control that I didn't like. And that's where I grew the most. And I know all of us as a collective are at this time in our lives, which are very, very exciting. So take a moment, tune into the image for rebirth, 1, 2, or 3, and see which one resonates with you. Now, keep in mind, this is a general reading. Take what resonates, but please like, share, all those algorithm things, and let's get to it. All right, rebirth image number 1. Let's take a look at what the cards are saying for you. All right, now I'm feeling like you're at a point where you've got a few decisions, as in a few options, I should say. And it's never actually going to be the same for you. As in, you know, if you look at your old life, when you see yourself in it, it doesn't make sense anymore. And it's not that, you know, the people are different or anything like that. That's not what I'm feeling. And that may be the way it is, but it doesn't, that's not what the message is. The message is more so it's about you fitting into the molds of what you used to be, whether or not you went from corporate and now you're questioning what is next, whether or not you worked with children and now you're wanting to work with adults. Like there's something that's really shifted. It's interesting because I was talking with some friends recently about potentially moving from this state to another. And, you know, the whole time over the last few years was just, it wasn't an option. No. But just recently, something switched inside me and I just went, it's possible. And it doesn't mean I'm going to do it, but I'm open to it. And it feels like that energy with you. It's something that like it was never, ever an option, but now it's possible. So you're at this beautiful crossroad And I don't want you to think too hard into it. If you think into it, it'll become overwhelming and you'll feel like you're getting nowhere. It's more so sitting back and knowing this energy supporting you, and time will tell. Now, the first card we get for you is joy and contentment. So I know that this shift that's happening with you at the moment is welcomed. It's like, well, if I don't know what to do, I'll do nothing. So whether or not you're taking some time off and you're just sitting back, it's totally supported by the universe. You may feel a little bit anxious around money or, wasting your time and all those things. And that's just almost the way society tries to make us feel. But know that in the nothingness at the moment, there's going to bring so much for you. The clarity is just really, really close. So it's almost like you're waiting for something, expecting something, but you're not sure what. So get out of your head. So who cares what? Just for a minute. And it doesn't sit right, but it just is. So sit in the nothingness and know that something's coming to you, because it really feels nice. Now, the next one is take charge and action. Now, the minute you do feel that pull, don't wait. I need to say that again. The minute you feel that pull towards something, don't wait. Now, I teach Reiki. Now, I know Reiki doesn't, you don't find Reiki, Reiki finds you. I know that. And it feels as if that what happens next with what's calling you. Now, this doesn't have to be career. It can just be a path in life, like a new relationship, a volunteer work, volunteer work. That sounds really nice. It feels like volunteer work. And again, this is general, but in the nothingness, volunteer work feeds your soul. So I don't work for money personally. Money's a bonus. Money's a necessity to get through life, right? So when I do work for money, as in I've got to make money, it really doesn't flow and it's very rigid and I'm counting my pennies. I don't like it. When I am just working for the love of it and turning up, the money just flows and there's no question. And that's what's happening here. You're sitting back trying to take yourself out of the old ways into the new way. And it's like the fear into the love, and it's really shifting. So in the volunteer option, it might only be once a month that you turn up and help somewhere, but I really feel like that's going to feed your soul and nourish you to be able to feel a bit more worthy that the next thing you do is going to bring in extra relationships, extra connection, extra money. So as we're going up this step, you might feel like you're just sitting on a step. But that's okay, because you're going to leap up to the next steps very soon. So it's the take charge and action is about putting the minute you get that opportunity that you just feel it in your bones, you will feel it. You'll just go, yep, that's where I'm headed. So it's almost lead by your gut, lead by your heart. So when you feel it, just do it. And it could very well be someone just asks a question of you and you just, everything about you just goes, no, I'm not available. I can't do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go to that party. I don't want to do that favor for you. I don't want to. And then in the old version of you, you'd go, yeah, sure. What time do I pick you up? Or what time do I come? But now you're feeling into actually what's going on in your body. You're connecting with it. I wouldn't be surprised if you've had ailments in your body and you're completely unaware. And all of a sudden a doctor may have said, oh, I've done a scan and I can see this. And you're just like, but I never felt that. I didn't know that was there. And how would I not know? And you're questioning yourself. But that was your old version because you're quite, you just get things done. You didn't feel into yourself. You didn't put yourself first. But now it's shifting as to say, well, okay, if you've said that I've got this imbalance or this illness, so to speak, you can now work through it because it's very much linked to your emotions. So when you let yourself feel things, you're going to be able to heal. And you're on this road of recovery, but there's a bit more to it. There's a bit more work to it. And I've said recently, I saw Dr. Joe Dispenza came to Australia last week, and oh my Lord, It was the best. And there's a real good book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. So in your nothingness, I don't want you just to sit and stare at Netflix and do nothing. It's more like being with yourself and doing a little bit of research and seeing other people, what they've done, and not copy, so to speak, but bring your own personality into it. And like I said, I teach Reiki and I give everybody a manual. And I say, look, you can use my manual, but I really don't want you to. I want you to put your own personality into it. Because people don't come to learn Reiki. They come to learn Reiki from me. You understand? So you have got this vibe that will attract your tribe, and it's about working out where you fit and what's going on for you next. But there is a massive rebirth going on for you at the moment, and you're still don't have the answers, and that's okay. But in the not having the answers, if you lose time and energy going, why don't I have the answers, and really beating yourself up, that's where you're going to really fall back and feel depleted and feel like you're getting nowhere and all that self-sabotage talk, that type of thing. So really take the time in the nothingness. And know that this is a massive rebirth for you. It's an awakening. You've got your toolbox of everything you've been through that you can just access when you need. And know that this is a really great time. And I'd love to hear, please feel free to comment, like, subscribe, all those things. But let me know where you're at and that it's okay that you're exactly where you are. It's perfect. I love it. And that is your reading for the rebirth image number 1. Okay, rebirth image number 2. Let's see what's going on for you. Oh, okay. It's interesting. And I know this is similar, a reading around Easter, an Easter theme. And it's not about Easter, so to speak. But as soon as I went into your energy, I got almost this little rabbit scared in the headlights. And I've got the ears up and I'm sort of like I feel shocked almost. So there's a bit of a shock feeling here about, oh God, what do I do next? And there's just the shock factor. So I feel like you've been through something energetically. It's hit you for a 6. It feels like it's hit you for a 6. It might be something you've just found out about, something that you've remembered, but there's something that's just hit you for a 6. And in your energy, I feel a little bit of a fear vibration that is, it's really ready to subside, but I feel like I'm almost in it. I'm in it at the moment. So I don't know if there's a little bit of panic going on or just racing hearts or the trust factor. I feel like it's really hard to trust people at the moment. And I just want you to know that for you to choose number 2, that this is all subsiding for you. You're in a beautiful space of learning to trust again. So this could be the brand new start of a relationship, a loving heart matters relationship. Or it could be something like just how you're feeling about yourself at the moment. There's a little bit of fear coming up. So straight away I want to pull a card because I need this to be acknowledged, but know that you are safe because we've got the divine timing card. And the divine timing card is exactly that. There's things that have happened around you that feel like they've been out of your control, but it's almost like it's part of the plan. See, I'm a big believer that we all choose our journey before we're born. We choose our parents. We know when we're going to be born. We know when we're going to die. We know all these things. Our higher self knows all this. And there's this trust element that you're really lacking at the moment. And Spirit's coming in now to just reassure you that everything's happened for a reason. We've all signed up to be here through this day and age. And it was interesting. I was telling some friends the other day that, I've always tried to block 5G, for example, all these EMFs and this radiation, and really got myself in quite a state about all these 5G towers going up because I can see what this energy is capable of. But then I know that I'm in, it's up to me what I allow in. So I can sit here in fear, putting all my, little crystals on that, push these vibrations away and plug in all these things and, do all that sort of stuff. Or I can simply set the intention that, I signed up to be here in the age of technology. And who am I to be in fear and try to push it? Because a lot of us can get, downgrade our energy and our health and our immune system simply by being in that state of trying to feel like we need to protect ourselves all the time. So I feel like you've spent a lot of energy doing that type of thing. So when we realize that we're meant to be here, our soul has got a contract. And we need to get back and trust that divine timing to know that we're exactly where we need to be. Now, that's not to say that you don't have choices. We certainly have choices. And it's time that you call in your spirit guides, because they won't step in. Our angels and guides don't step in to interfere. But if we call them, they certainly will. Now, because I'm a psychic medium, I work with spirit and past loved ones and all that, and for a living every day. But I also ask them to step back when I'm not working, unless it's an emergency. Come in and let me know if I need to know anything. Otherwise, I have voices in my head all the time. So there's an aspect to that. Just try and work out what is you and what is spirit, because there's a little bit of, in this fear mentality, a little bit of, I don't know if you've been getting dark thoughts, but I feel like there's been quite a down time. And I also don't feel like you've been sharing this with anybody, but hey, spirit's here and channeling through me. And it's really interesting because I actually forget all my readings as soon as I'm finished, because I'm just the channel. So once this uploads, every Sunday, I can go and actually pick a card or pick an image or whatever that is and actually receive a reading like it's the first time I've heard it, because it's exactly that. I just don't remember what I'm saying because this is just purely for you. And spirit needs you to know that they've got you, they're here, but call them in and expect their help, because you've been doing this very much alone lately. And this is vulnerability and freedom. So there's actually a freedom in the vulnerability of you having these discussions. And if you don't feel like having this with another human, certainly have it with spirit, because it's time for you to shift. That your rebirth is out of the fear mentality. The whole 3 years of the media telling us we're all going to die, basically, which has been very hypnotic and a lot of very downgrading energy. But the thing is, we're not doing that anymore, are we? We're going, okay, thanks for the information. Now I'll take that and I'll do what I want with it, which is lift. I'm not going to be told that I need to be fearful just because someone tells me to be scared. I'm not going to be sick just because the doctor diagnoses me with something. I'm going to say, okay, great, that's what's happened with my body. Now it's time that I'm going to switch that. That type of energy. So your rebirth right now is you taking the reins, being told the information. Information is power, and then creating whatever you want out of that. And I almost want to say that's the egg, and I can't even remember what the image for number 2 is. But I feel like I've got an egg, a rebirth. So be very mindful about, seeing where eggs are, because that's your symbol to look out for. So whenever you get that egg symbol, and I know it's coming into Easter, so it's going to be probably easier than usual, but eggs anywhere, people talking about them, commercials on TV, chickens, like all this sort of stuff, someone IVF, I don't know. It's all relevant. And just know that with the divine timing, that it's all just reminding you that you're on track. You're on track. So it's this massive reawakening for you to let go of that fear and move forward. Now, also I'm an EFT practitioner, okay? So when we do tapping and all of a sudden dissolve that part of us, like the fear that we've been holding on to, I'll say to my clients, okay, what type of fear are you holding? And they go, oh, it's a 10 out of 10. So we do some tapping until the fear is 0, non-existent. And then they're looking for the fear. I go, hang on a minute, just give me a sec. And I go, so what, you're looking for the fear? Yeah, it's got to be here, it's got to be here. Okay, how interesting. So don't look for the fear. If you don't feel it, then that's okay. And that's what's happening with you. But you've got to remember that when we do lose the part of us, the fear, it's like this relationship that keeps us safe. If we're fearful, we're making sure that we're alert, that's protection. But the minute we let it go, it's almost like a part of us that's died. And there's a grief that comes into it. And so we've got to work through the fact that we don't feel fearful anymore. And I feel a little bit out of sorts. But that's okay, because it's divine timing and you're exactly where you need to be. So you, my beautiful, going through the image number 2 is all about you stepping up into that new frequency. You're letting go of the low vibers. You're coming into this new energy, and it's unfamiliar. And with unfamiliarity comes a little bit of apprehension, and that's okay. It's perfect. Because if we come into a new space feeling, yeah, I've got this, let's go, and not knowing what to expect, sometimes it can set us back. And we don't want to be cocky, and that's exactly not you. You're all about, let's open up my heart and move forward and be in this beautiful space. And that is exactly where you are, and that is your reading for image number 2. All right, number 3. Let's have a look at your image. Oh gosh, okay, it's so bizarre. As soon as I step into a new card or a new image, my energy shifts, and I know I'm almost feeling like I've got something to say here, and I'm not letting myself. So when I don't speak, I feel nauseous. I feel like I've got this energy coming up and just stops. Now I want to sneeze. And how's exciting? What's exciting is that nowadays we can sneeze and people actually say bless you instead of going ew. Now that's very cool. So straight away I know that there's something going on with your throat chakra. You're not speaking up. There's something very important that you need to say, and you're not saying it. And if you don't know what this is, well, you need to sit with what you're feeling and why you're feeling it, what it reminds you of. And if it takes you back to an event, what you should have said back then is very similar to what you need to be saying now. All right, you want me to say that again? Sit with your body, scan yourself, see how you're feeling, take it back to where you're feeling that in a past event. And what did you need to say then? What you should have said, and that's what you need to be saying now. Okay? So there's a connection here to a past event that you're reliving and you didn't know it actually existed with this actual event. So, time to speak, my beautiful soul. You have such a beautiful voice. Now, you could be a singer too. I feel like I want to hear what you have to say. There's vocals here that are very important for your transition into the next stage of your life. It feels like you're just going into a beautiful stage of your life where you're now putting yourself in the limelight. So you may have a YouTube channel, you may be a performer, you may be on stage, you may be a teacher, you may be in front of people, and it's actually really stirring you up. It's not something that you do lightly, but know that they need to hear what you have to say. Now, this is your first card today, and it says friendship and union. Now, I see 2 people on this card, but this is parts of you. This is all about you. So there's a part of you you need to make friends with, because based on the first part of your reading, it's like you need to go back to finish something that wasn't done because you didn't speak up. You could have put a stop to it. You could have had some boundaries. There's something here. But you got to remember that was your old version of yourself, the younger version of yourself that's not as equipped as you now. Now, there's a part of you that needs to forgive another part of you so that you can then become one. So it's been a bit of disconnection in fragments of yourself that are coming together. And I like to say it's like a mosaic. It comes together like a mosaic. And that's exactly what's happening for you. Your rebirth is a whole new existence. It is part of you that you're actually accepting parts of yourself that you thought weren't great. But the thing is, those parts really make you who you are. And when we really accept all parts of ourselves, it's a beautiful thing. Now, I worked at the Gathering of the Gathering of the Goddesses Festival last weekend, and I did a couple of presentations, and I actually went and listened to some, and one lady said something so beautiful. And I feel like sharing this with you for part of your reading. And what it was is she said that when her partner says something that triggers her, she actually now realizes that being triggered is something that's part of her growth, and she enjoys it. To the point where instead of her saying go yourself back, she will go away and just sit with it and go, okay, why am I triggered? What does it bring up in me? What does it remind me of? And then she sort of does all this work and goes where it is until she goes, now it makes sense, because he said, something that reminded her of something someone else said, and blah, blah, blah. So in the end, she'll come back and say, you know what? You triggered me. And I didn't actually appreciate it because I felt that you were quite rude the way you said it. But I want to thank you because it reminded me of blah, blah, blah. And I understand that, you know, I'll have to work through that, or I've accepted that. And I saw the correlation. But she explains how that being triggered had nothing to do with him, but it was something that she worked through. And because life, right, it's just work. When we look at it, we're always working on ourselves. But we can also say it's just progress, and we're just living as well. So it's all perception. So if someone's triggering you at the moment, take the opportunity to grow even more. So take it and run with it. So don't react. Just take a breath, walk away and go, how dare they say that? That makes me think of blah, blah, blah. And then you'll realize, I get it now. And then you can come back and have maybe an adult conversation. So I feel like that was necessary to bring that in. And I feel I learned a lot from that. I personally will be doing that too because, you know, we're all human. And I find it really challenging, especially with my husband, not to react. And then we get the forgiveness and understanding. And this is not about forgiving or understanding our partner, so to speak. It's about us. Forgiving and understanding how we are. And it doesn't have to be a partner. It can be a parent. It can be a friend. It can be a freaking shopkeeper that you don't even know that triggers the shit out of you, you know? Like, hurry up. And you're like, and you feel totally rushed, and they don't know what day you've had. They don't know that you've got a leg that you know it's been painful for 3 weeks and you can't even move properly and you haven't told anyone. You know, those type of things. But when we give ourselves compassion and we forgive ourselves, we get an understanding. And you know what? The number one human need is just to be understood, right? And when we're giving that to ourselves, we don't actually have to crave it elsewhere. But because we're giving it to ourselves, we get that vibe up and then people start copying. So people will only treat us what we believe that we're worthy of. So your rebirth is all about the relationship you have with yourself. You're now stepping into a union. And when you're complete, you feel you don't have to get everything external anymore. That will just come naturally because they'll copy you. And that is your reading for Rebirth number 3. Thank you so much for tuning in, beautiful people. Stay well. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Have a look down below in the description. All my retreats that are coming up. I'm doing a Queensland tour in June. And there's so much happening. So please like, share, subscribe, all those things. Stay well. Be kind to others, but especially beautiful people. Stay kind to yourself. Mwah. See you next time.